unless you plan on going to study for another certification or apply for another job that says you have to have this type of certification, chances are you ain't gonna be sitting around studying for no certification. You think about AI resume builders. I've never used one. I'm assuming you take your information from your resume, put it into the AI resume builder, and then it jazzes it up for you. I'm assuming that's what's taking place. I'm assuming that you're not using the AI resume builder to build you a resume from scratch that's listing a whole bunch of crap that you ain't never done. So we're going to go with the first thing. So if it's a resume builder that you can put your resume in there, put all your information in there, and then it beautifies that resume to make it seem like, what I mean by beautify. So let's just say that you got on your resume, I changed 50 light bulbs. And then the AI resume is like, hey, let's make that sound better. You successfully installed 50 illumination systems. Then I don't have an issue with that because a light bulb is an illumination system, right? If this thing can enhance your resume by rewording stuff for you, then I will go ahead and rock with it. Honestly, I think using AI to take what you do in your job role and put it into a job role summary. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I just said that. Yeah. So yeah, if it can enhance what you've already done, reword it, make it sound better, then by all means use it. I don't see an issue with that. All right, this person with the weird name says cybersecurity is not about cybersecurity. He says it's about certifications. The business of cybersecurity is certifications. Very few are worth getting. The rest are junk. So I kind of disagree with that. I understand what they're saying because when you start looking at these certifications, like Security Plus, Pen Test, what is the other one? CYSA, what does that stand for? Cybersecurity Analyst. Then you got the SANS, you got what is the other one? The CISSP, or anyways, you get these higher level certs. These things can cost some cheese. The thing is, yes, they cost some money, but will they help you get the job to make more money? Let's just say you had to pay $1,000 to go take a test. You get one shot at this thing, you either pass or fail, right? And you don't get no refunds. But if you pass the test and you get this cybersecurity cert, there's a job out there that's going to pay you at least starting off $120,000 a year. Is the $1,000 worth it? I think it is, especially if you put in good, honest effort to try to pass it, and then you cough up $1,000 and then you get hired on at $120,000. And so what happens after you get hired on? So you don't pay the $1,000 for this random cert. You pass it, you get your job for $120,000. When's the next time you think you're going to be actually taking a certification test after that? It's not like you're going to get hired and then 2 months later, 6 months later, you're going to have to go take another certification test. You're just going to be constantly taking test after test. That's not how this works. At most, you're probably going to be doing at least once a year or once every 2 or 3 years, probably once every 2 to 3 years. You're probably going to be doing CEUs, continual educational units, where you're attending some conference, you're performing some type of duty on your job, or you're taking some quick little class to recertify your $1,000 certification so that you don't have to go out there and drop another $1,000 on the test, on the certification. The point I'm making is he's saying that it's not about cybersecurity. It's about certs, because this is how these companies like CompTIA make their money selling certifications. Yes, that is how they make their money selling certifications. I mean, because look, I sell the vouchers. I know how much they cost. I know how much it costs me to buy them before I can add on any type of profit that I want to make, which ain't much. For every voucher I sell, I might make like $10. So it's not like I'm getting rich off these things, right? Because they got them marked up so freaking high. But the thing is, after you pass the cert and then you go get the job, well, guess what? Unless you plan on going to study for another certification or apply for another job that says you have to have this type of certification, chances are you ain't gonna be sitting around studying for no certification. You're gonna be working, collecting your little paychecks and going about your business. So I don't really agree with it. It's all about the certifications. It's like, it's about the certifications until you get hired. And then once you get hired, you're doing your job. That's it. You're just working. You're not sitting around reading books or watching TechG certification videos all day, unless you just really like me that much. So that's kind of how this works, man. Emmanuel says, hey, boss, how you doing? I'm doing great, man. He says, hey, boss, how you doing? I got some questions, man. I just got out of the Air Force as an MP, military police after 10 years, currently serving in the IRR and looking to join the Army as a 25 Bravo. Everybody wants to be a Bravo, man. Says, I'm already talking with a recruiter and I qualify for the job because says, I forgot what the name of them scores are, but I know he's not talking about the ad, or maybe he is talking about the ASVAB. Anyways, because of the scores. And he says, I want to know how the job on a daily basis is. What do they do? And also, if you deploy as a 25 Bravo, what was the experience and the job and the deployment? Thank you. I appreciate the info in the video. All right. So shout out to another person who wants to be a 25 Bravo. So he says, what do you do? Well, that all depends upon what unit you are attached to and what is their mission. I mean, that's the best answer I can give you. Every 25 Bravo in the Army, we all don't go off to work at the help desk and sit around answering phones and plugging in printers for the rest of our life. Some people might go work for the NSA. Some might go straight down range to like, we're not in Afghanistan no more, but some of them might go straight to Iraq and be doing some crazy stuff out there. You might find yourself attached to an infantry unit while they out there kicking in doors and shooting crap up. You got to fix their little computers or something like that so that they can communicate with the brass. Like, it all depends upon what unit you're attached to and what is the mission of the unit. Or you might find yourself as a 25 Bravo in a unit because basically you're the signal guy, and everybody else who's not signal, they all think that we're just a magical man or woman that can just fix everything. So you might find yourself out there dealing with stuff that ain't got nothing to do with a damn computer, being that they look at your MOS number, they think, oh, that's the smart electronics guy. He can go over there and fix a satellite dish. Like, they might have you doing some goofy crap like that. Or worst case scenario, you might find yourself doing KP detail, working in the cafeteria, washing dishes, doing some stupid crap for a little minute. I mean, so anyway, it just depends on what your unit is doing. What is their mission? So I can't really give you a definitive answer, but if I had to give you a stereotypical answer, meaning, okay, this is what you more than likely could possibly find yourself doing. You're possibly going to find yourself either you're probably going to be working at some type of help desk, and it might not be a formal help desk like you see at a regular civilian company. You might be the only IT guy in your company, and guess what? You're tasked with fixing everybody's crap. You might find yourself at the battalion level, the brigade level as the IT guy, doing whatever. So chances are you're going to be doing some computer related stuff. Now, keep in mind, I've been out the Army coming up on 9 years. So things may have changed in the past 9 years. But when I was in the Army, right, I was in for 13 years. When I was in, most IT people, we did IT work. But there were instances where I did come across quite a few people that were IT people in these special units, like the one IT guy that I used to know that was part of a special forces unit, then the other IT guy that was part of a ranger unit. Like, they were the IT guy, 25 Bravos, but they were doing some all types of crazy stuff because of the unit that they were attached to. So it just depends on what type of unit you're attached to. But if you get attached to a quote unquote normal unit, you're going to be the IT guy, man. You're going to be resetting passwords, plugging in printers, fixing crap. Anything that goes wrong with the internet is your fault. Everything that goes wrong with anything electronic or the internet is your fault. And then when everything is working and doing its thing, nobody hardly notices you exist. That's just kind of how it goes. What do you say? If you deploy as a 25 Bravo, what was the experience in the job and the deployment? So I deployed as a 25 Bravo twice. Once again, this is all dependent upon the unit that you are attached to and what they do. So my last deployment, I was in Afghanistan. I was in Kandahar. I was at Kandahar Airfield, southern Afghanistan. From there, they put me on a helicopter, flew me about 30 miles east to a little FOB, forward operating base called FOB Wilson. They later on changed it to FOB Pasab. I was there for about 5 or 6 months. The first 5 or 6 months, I turned into a handyman. You're like, what do you mean you turned into a handyman? So when I was there for the first 5 or 6 months, we didn't have a help desk. We didn't have a service desk. I had about, how many contractors? It was my lieutenant, my sergeant first class, me, and then it was a grand total of like 5 or 6 military people in my unit that were stationed at this base. We were attached to the 101st Airborne. And then we had about 10 or 15 contractors working with us. And when we got out there, we didn't have any place to stay or no place to work. So I had to go out there and start making friends. And I made friends with a warrant officer who just happens to be in the same fraternity as me. And so he was in charge of the supply yard. So I went down to the supply yard every other day and used to get a bunch of wood and a bunch of tools. And then luckily I had on my team a bunch of guys that had carpentry skills. So we spent literally like the first 2 months actually building the service desk that we worked in, like literally building it up and then running all the wires, doing all the drops. So, I got a whole lesson in carpentry. Then we was over here installing drops everywhere. We had to burn in our satellite signal and all that crap. Like we was getting it in. But then once all that got established, then, we turned into a regular service desk, doing service desk operations. We took over the internet because basically our job was to go out there and revamp the internet telecommunications for the base because They were doing a bunch of line of sight communications. We came through with the satellite dish, started blasting signals off into space because one of my guys was a satellite dude. So we got that set up. We got the TCF set up, the tech control facility. Basically, we took all the signals from all the commanders' offices and all that stuff, routed through the service desk, passed through the TCF, blasted all the signals out into space so everybody could have quote unquote faster internet connection, right? Even though it was kind of slow, but whatever. So that's what we did. Then after that, they packed my crap up. They flew me up north where I went to this base called Tarankout or TK. Half the base was U.S. Army, half the base was Australia. Well, it was divided into 3 sections, my bad. So 1/3 was the Australian Army. One of the other thirds was the American military, the U.S. Army. And then on the back side of the base was the Afghans, where they lived like in the slum, like literally the slums back there. But anyways, we got up there. We had to basically repeat the process of what we did, except we didn't have to build anything. We just had to go in there and set up the routers, the switches, basically the data center, program all that crap up and get all the telecommunications revamped. So that's what I was tasked with doing. And then in the midst of this, we had to duck bullets, RPGs. We got to sit around and watch Apache helicopters light up the side of mountains, blowing people all the way to hell up. And then we got the one night, I guess Ramadan had kicked off. So all the Taliban outside the base took their AK-47s, started busting shots in the air, and you could see the tracer rounds flying. And it was pretty cool till you realize, like, oh crap, I got to go sit in the bunker because those bullets going to come back down and rain on you. So that was part of the deployment, right? And then, dealing with the explosions and all the PTSD stuff that, the Army says I qualify for. So that was part of the deployment experience. So yes, when you deploy, if you deploy to a danger zone where it's like hot out in them streets where people are actually bucking at you, you're gonna have to go out there and do some IT stuff and potentially get shot at the same time. There were a couple times where I had RPGs, like you can literally hear them. The little footballs you throw, the little Nerf footballs when they make that whistle sound. There was literally a few times where I'm walking to work to my spot and I hear the whistle sound go off. And no, it's not a Nerf football, it's an RPG that's about to blow up and F somebody's day up. That's part of the deployment experience as being a 25 Bravo. Now, back at my home base in Kandahar, where my homies was at, and then at the knock that some of my friends used to work in, they be in there chilling, looking at screens all day, resetting passwords, plugging in printers, going down the street to the what was it, the Starbucks? It wasn't a Starbucks. There was a Canadian coffee spot out there called this Canadian donut spot that they had on the base out there. And I think they had a TGI Fridays out there on Kandahar too. So they going to TGI Fridays and doing all this crazy crap. No, not the green bean, Chris. Tim Horton. That's what it was called. Tim Hortons. They had a Tim Hortons out there. All right. So that's what they was dealing with while I was getting shot at every other day. You know what I'm saying? Doing some IT work. Wake up in the morning, hoping and praying I didn't get hit by a damn RPG, get hit by an RPG. That was life, right? Shout out to this person, a deeply closeted gay man. Shout out to you, man. Says, can I get a help desk job with only an ITF cert? Sure you can. You got to remember the help desk is entry level. They pretty much take anybody, even deeply closeted gay men like yourself. They will accept you into the help desk. You go out there and apply. All you got is your ITF. You should be good to go, man. Then you can come out the closet and just be yourself. Man, we're in the year 2024, man. You ain't got to be in the closet no more. Just come on out, man. Just if you like to let your balls jingle a certain way, go let them jingle. Just don't let them jingle next to me, but go out there and do your thing, man. Shout out to you, man. But anyways, Emmanuel, that was my experience. The overall message here, Emmanuel, is it really just depends upon the unit that you are attached to and what their mission is and what they're going to have you do. Every unit isn't the same. Every mission isn't the same, but generally, you're probably going to be doing standard IT work. But you might find yourself doing some oddball stuff too, like where I turned into a carpenter for 4 months, learning how to do carpentry in the middle of an active war zone.